Welcome to part 2 of our webinar, the 999 Plan, Transform Your World Today. This part is much more visual, so as previously mentioned, please pause this webinar at any time, go to the discussion, and review each pattern in more detail. So let's first take a glimpse at the Phase 2 Prowdikin calendar. Essentially, this is the primary layout or pattern from which everything else is derived. It's important for you to fully understand and appreciate its simplicity first before we go any further. As described in the basic theory, the calendar is structured in a 9-day pattern, but you can see it has 5 external global holidays, shown in green, that are strategically located between each seasonal quarter. A 6th holiday is added during leap year as March 31st instead of February 29th. This approach makes the Prowdikin calendar cyclical or seasonally perennial so that there is no longer the need for the typical one-day precession inherent in the current Gregorian calendar. The chronology of the new calendar is displayed in a vertical fashion to distinguish its repeating 9-day pattern as separate from the original identity and otherwise religious intent of the 7-day week. But the 9-day pattern could just as easily be represented in this more traditional horizontal fashion, assuming widespread acceptance for this convention. There are some additional necessary alterations to this layout from the current Gregorian calendar convention, namely February, May, and August would now have 30 days and April would have 31 days. Also, we would need to come up with a name for the 2 new days of the week on either side of Wednesday. Personally, I'm rather partial to Brew Day and Bond Day, but I would suggest we have a naming contest and take a world vote. So let's take a look at the Phase 1 Prowdikin schedule. Simply put, it is the visually expanded presentation of the same 9-day pattern on top of the current chronology of the Gregorian calendar. Please note that this layout shows the same current monthly conventions are still respected, and the discussion depicts the pattern for a standard year versus a leap year. However, if and when the Phase 2 Prowdikin calendar is adopted, the new monthly layout would have the appropriate alterations for February, March, April, May, and August as previously described. The benefits for implementing option number 1 and option number 2 from our theory can now be seen through the expansion of the calendar into this schedule format. However, we are reserving the discussion on those specific details as part of our follow-on in-person consultation, which we strongly recommend. Everything we have shown and discussed up to this point is openly available and accessible to anyone through our website and on this social network. Now, let's look at our 5 proposed alternative work schedule patterns which you received access to through your registration to one of our seminars. Although everything presented should be considered copyrighted, please also consider these patterns in particular proprietary, trademarked, and patent pending. All these patterns can integrate a distributed set of A, B, and C work schedules as shown and can incorporate a multi-shift workflow management process. Our first pattern is the BIPEASY. The Phase 1 BIPEASY schedule and its related Phase 2 calendar are pictorially shown in the discussion addendum. Simply put, we believe this pattern has the potential to be the most widely used and accepted. As the name implies, the pattern is split into 2 3-day work blocks with an extra rest day in the middle every 9 days. Our motivation is to push productivity into more yet smaller blocks of consecutive workdays, thereby improving overall efficiency. At the same time, this pattern has the potential to reduce employee fatigue and stimulate better educational habits, develop new growth processes, and even improve family lifestyles. Our second pattern is the FUSE-IM, pronounced FUSE-IM. The Phase 1 FUSE-IM schedule and its related Phase 2 calendar are pictorially shown in the discussion addendum. We believe this pattern is better than traditional workflow schedules for those who travel a lot within their job. The pattern is split into 3 two-day work blocks separated by 1 rest day between each. In addition, we have tied this to a more outwardly spiritual philosophy where faithful observance from a religious perspective could potentially be better distributed throughout the 9-day pattern. For a better explanation of this philosophy, please see the discussion entitled Come, Truly Listen and Believe. Also, you can look at our GPS test and see how you do there. Our third pattern is the MEBUS. The Phase 1 MEBUS schedule and its related Phase 2 calendar are pictorially shown in the discussion addendum. Who hasn't heard of Nostradamus? Well, I've taken the name for this pattern from one of his colorful quatrains and have created what I consider to be the antithesis of the FUSE-IM pattern and philosophy. If we as a civilized society are to someday progress beyond the confines of our existing precepts and conventions, we must be able to adopt a truly open framework in everything we do that allows for coexistence among everyone. Simply put, this pattern has 3 4-day work blocks separated by 2 rest period by a 2-day rest period, and the basic pattern repeats every 18 days. This is an ideal pattern for service-oriented industries and those who still want longer blocks of consecutive workdays that are more traditionally equivalent to current workflow schedules. This is perhaps our most controversial schedule pattern, but we welcome any level of debate on the subject in the hope of developing positive transformational growth for our society. Our fourth pattern is the Weekender. The Phase 1 Weekender schedule and its related Phase 2 calendar are pictorially shown in the discussion addendum. Although this pattern requires 6 days straight of work, which seems to oppose our overall goal to potentially reduce employee fatigue, everyone gets a long 3-day weekend every 9 days. This is an ideal schedule for any type of profession that potentially operates more effectively over longer blocks of consecutive workdays. Our fifth and final pattern is the Firefighter. The Phase 1 Firefighter schedule and its related Phase 2 calendar are pictorially shown in the discussion addendum. This pattern is the opposite of the basic FUSE-IM pattern. In this case, there are 3 work days and 6 rest days in the pattern. It is ideal for those professions who work extra long daily hours, such as firefighters, pilots, healthcare providers, etc. In general, it is based on a continuous 16-hour workday or 18-hour workday with option number 1. So what's next? Hopefully, we were able to stretch your perception beyond your current conventions to see the specific details of our truly transformational, outside-the-box prolution. We believe our concept and the 999 plan could potentially help catapult our national and global economies out of the current economic recession. Do you believe us? If you're interested, we strongly encourage you to consider a follow-on consultation with us. We would like to get you on a path to successfully implement one or more of these 5 uniquely progressive alternative work schedule patterns. Once again, please see our social network at the999plan.ning.com for more details. In closing, I personally know this knowledge is literally apocalyptic and controversial in nature for many. But I believe together we all can apply it from a truly positive and transformational perspective of faith. I have spiritually heard what I would consider to be a calling to share this knowledge, and that is why I have taken my mission patron name as Peter, in the hope that I can enlighten and transform the entire world to this concept through the 999 plan. I invite everyone interested to join me as Peter in this mission. Since this is clearly my own original creative thinking, and there is very little empirical data to support the success of its implementation from both a macro and microeconomic perspective, I'm considering myself an honorary PhD in this brand new field. However, any reputable educational institutions that are willing are certainly welcome to give me a real one. We hope you have enjoyed our webinar, The 999 Plan, Transform Your World Today. Thank you, and God's peace be with you.